I went on a cruise with my kids and their spouses. At the second port, they said, "Dad, go on down and check out the market." When I got back, the ship was gone, my luggage also gone. They left me in a foreign country, no passport, no money, no name. But what they didn't know is that an old sea dog always finds his way back. And when I came back, I brought the storm with me. They saw me on the news. If this story moves you, subscribe. Every day there's a new story that could be yours. Tell us where you're watching from. I'm sitting on a green plastic chair in a police station in Cartagena, Colombia. I smell like old sweat, like sea salt stuck to my skin, like dry fear. I'm wearing the same white linen shirt I wore 2 days ago, back when I still believed my children loved me. Now it's wrinkled, stained with dirt at the elbows, with a coffee stain on the chest. I don't even remember spilling. Across from me, a young police officer is typing on an old typewriter. It sounds like bones breaking. Clack, clack, clack. There's a ceiling fan, but it doesn't make a full rotation. It gets stuck every 3 turns, making a metallic grinding noise that's driving me insane. A fly is walking on the yellow wall, slow like it has all the time in the world. I'm counting the cracks in the cement just so I don't fall apart right here, in front of this girl who keeps looking at me with pity. My name is Julian Morgan Reed. I am 78 years old. I was born in Houston, Texas, March 5th, 1947. I owned the biggest shipyard in Houston for 45 years. I built ships that sailed all over the Caribbean, ships that carried cargo, tourists, dreams of people who trusted my work. I employed over 200 men. I paid fair wages. I helped entire families eat, educate their kids, have dignity. And now I don't even have a damn piece of paper that says who I am. The officer looks at me like I'm a homeless man, someone who made up a story to get a meal. They don't believe me. And the worst part is, I'm starting to wonder myself if any of this is real or if I'm losing my mind. 2 days ago on the cruise, my grandson Mason hugged me tight on the ship's deck. He's 12 years old. He's still a kid, but his eyes aren't. He whispered in my ear so low I could barely hear him. "Grandpa, I don't want you to go to the port tomorrow." I laughed. I ruffled his brown hair. It's always messy. "Why not? Kiddo, it'll be fun. We'll buy some nice things to take home." He looked down, staring at the white sneakers I bought him for his birthday. "Just don't go." He said that and then ran off. I thought he was just playing that kids say weird things. Now, sitting in this chair with the plastic digging into my skin, I understand. He knew. My own grandson knew they were going to leave me, and he couldn't do anything. Or maybe he was scared. What can a 12-year-old boy do against his own parents? The typewriter keeps clacking away. Clack, clack, clack. The fly's on the rim of my cold coffee cup now. There's a greasy film floating on the brown liquid. I haven't touched it. I can't swallow. My throat's been closed for a day. I close my eyes and I see Sarah's face at breakfast. 2 mornings ago, when we were still on the ship, she was smiling. Too much. "Dad, it's terribly hot today, isn't it? You should come down to the port with me. It'll be good for you to stretch your legs." Grace Miller, Marcus's wife, jumped in too quickly. "Yes, father-in-law, you should go. We'll watch your things here in the cabin. Don't worry about a thing." She has that way of talking, polite, proper, but cold as ice. I always knew Grace didn't like me, but I never thought she hated me this much. Grace insisted I leave my backpack, the black canvas bag where I kept everything, my passport, my wallet with $1,200 in cash, my cell phone, and the documents from Josephine's will that Marcus had asked me to keep safe. It's safer here, father-in-law. Why carry all that in the heat? You'll be walking in the sun. Better to travel light. And I, like an idiot, I agreed. I left the backpack on the bed in his cabin. I only took my Panama hat and $50 in my pants pocket. $50 that I spent on souvenirs Sarah picked out. Souvenirs that are now lost in some market in Cartagena. Now I get it. She knew exactly what she was doing. It wasn't improvised. It was precise, calculated, planned like you plan a murder because this was a murder. Even if I'm still breathing. The station door cacks open. A woman walks in, older, maybe in her late 60s, short gray hair, big sunglasses that she takes off as she enters, the black canvas bag where I kept everything, my passport, my wallet with $1,200 in cash, my cell phone, and the documents from Josephine's will that Marcus had asked me to keep safe. It's safer here, father-in-law. Why carry all that in the heat? You'll be walking in the sun. Better to travel light. And I, like an idiot, I agreed. I left the backpack on the bed in his cabin. I only took my Panama hat and $50 in my pants pocket, which had been beating like a broken drum for 2 days. Suddenly leaps. Someone saw me. Someone knows I'm not crazy. Someone knows this really happened. Elena looks at me, and in her eyes, I see something I haven't seen in days. True compassion, not pity. Compassion. There's a difference. Pity makes you feel small. Compassion makes you feel human again. Sir, I was shopping in the same market. I saw when your daughter went to the bathroom and didn't come back. I saw when you started looking for her, asking everyone. I saw when you ran towards the port. She takes out her cell phone, pin an iPhone with a pink case, and shows something to the officer. I can't see the screen from here, but I see the officer's face change. Her eyebrows knit together. Her mouth tightens. This is serious, the officer says. Elena nods. Very serious. This man was intentionally abandoned by his own family, and someone has to do something about it. The officer looks at me differently now, not with pity for a vagrant, but with respect for a victim. Mr. Reed, we are going to file a full report. We will contact the American Embassy. This is not going to be ignored. I nod, but I still can't speak. I have a lump in my throat the size of a fist. Elena sits in the plastic chair next to me. She smells like vanilla perfume. It's the first pleasant smell I've registered in 2 days. You are not alone, she tells me softly. I'm going to stay right here until this is resolved. I want to thank her, but if I open my mouth, I know I'll cry, and I've already cried too much. 78 years old, and I've cried more in these 2 days than in my entire life. So I just nod and watch the fly, which is now on the edge of the window. The officer asks, Mr. Reed, do you have any way to contact your family? And that's when reality hits me again, like a cold wave. I don't have their numbers memorized. I always called from my cell phone, and my cell phone is on the ship. Elena steps in. Officer, can we search for the cruise line's name online? Maybe there's a way to contact the company. The officer nods and starts searching on an old computer. It takes forever to load each page. I look at the clock on the wall. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's been 48 hours since I got off that ship. 48 hours that I know nothing about my children. 48 hours that they know perfectly well where I am, and they've done nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Elena takes out her phone again. Mr. Julian, Would you allow me to post your story on my social media? I have about 8,000 followers. It's not much, but maybe someone can help. I look at her, not really understanding what social media is. Josephine and I were never into that. We had Facebook, but we never used it. Do whatever you think is necessary. I tell her. My voice sounds horse arrow like it isn't mine. Elena starts typing on her phone. Her fingers fly across the screen. I'm going to post the photos, and I'm going to tell them what I saw. People need to know what they did to you. I nod. Part of me is ashamed. Ashamed that the whole world will know my own children threw me away like trash. But another part of me, the part that still has dignity, wants everyone to know, wants justice, wants them to pay. The officer looks up from the computer. I found the cruise. It's called the Star of the Caribbean. It left Cartagena 48 hours ago. It's stopping in Panama, and then it returns to Houston in 5 days. 5 days. 5 more days of this nightmare. 5 days where they'll be eating, drinking, dancing on that damn ship while I'm here in this plastic chair with nothing. The officer continues. I am sending an official communicate to the ship's captain. They are obligated to respond. Elena touches my arm gently. It's going to be okay. I promise you. And right then, at that moment, I understood that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't as alone as I thought. Maybe the sea had taken my children, but it had given me an angel with gray hair and a pink phone case. I close my eyes in this police station, and I see myself at 31, standing in front of that empty lot at the Houston port. It was 1978, the year Josephine and I got married. She wore a simple white dress, no veil, none of that. We got married at the courthouse because we didn't have money for a big wedding. Her father, Mr. Emil Reed, owned a hardware store downtown. A serious man, big hands, few words. The day I asked for his blessing to marry his daughter, he just stared at me for what felt like an eternity. Then he said, Julian, I don't have money to give my daughter, but I have this. He pulled out an envelope with $50,000. They say you have a talent for building. Build something worthwhile. That will be your dowry. I promised my father-in-law right there in his living room that smelled like fresh coffee. Mr. Reed, this shipyard will be the pride of Houston. And it was. My God, it was. For 45 years, I hired 5 men at first. They were all like me, young, hungry to work, to get ahead. We started by repairing small fishing boats. Then came the bigger ships. After 3 years, we had 30 employees. After 10, 100. Josephine kept the books in a hardcover ledger. She'd sit in the tiny office we had with a fan that barely turned, adding up numbers with a pencil, sharpening it every 30 minutes. Honey, we're doing good, she'd always tell me. And I believed her because Josephine never lied. Ever. Marcus was born in 1973, 5 years before I opened the shipyard. He was competitive from day one, always needing to be the best at everything. He got straight A's in school, but not because he loved learning. He just couldn't stand another kid being better than him. He played soccer, and he'd get furious if they lost. He'd blame his teammates, never himself. Josephine would tell me, Honey, you need to talk to him. He has to learn to lose with dignity. I'd talk to him, but Marcus would just nod and keep doing the same thing. When he turned 22, he graduated with a civil engineering degree. I was proud. I thought he'd work with me at the shipyard. But he said, Dad, I don't want to fix old boats. I want to build modern buildings. He went to work for a construction firm in New York City. He came back less and less. Sarah was born 3 years after Marcus, my princess. That's what I always called her, my princess. She was the only girl, and yes, we spoiled her. Josephine would scold me. Julian, you're spoiling her rotten. And she was right. I was. But she was so sweet when she was little. She'd hug me and say, Daddy, when I grow up, I'm going to marry you. I'd laugh. You can't do that, sweetheart, but you'll find someone who loves you as much as I do. Sarah grew up beautiful, smart, polite. She married an accountant at 24, a good man, or so I thought. They had 2 daughters, but they divorced after 8 years. Sarah came back home with her girls. Josephine and I took care of them for 2 years until she met her second husband. She never paid me back the $40,000 I lent her for the divorce, but it didn't matter. She was my daughter, my princess. Ryan, the youngest, was born when I was 34. He was a difficult baby, cried a lot, slept little. Josephine was up with him every night. I worked late at the shipyard, and I'd get home when they were already asleep. Ryan grew up quiet, shy, always hiding behind his siblings. He got bullied in school. Fatty, they called him. Ryan wasn't fat. He was stocky, strong, but kids are cruel. He started eating more as a defense. And yeah, he gained weight. At 16, he started drinking. We'd find bottles hidden in his room. Josephine would cry. What did we do wrong? I didn't know how to answer. Ryan never finished college. He worked at the shipyard with me for 5 years, but he was always late, always smelled like alcohol. I had to fire him. It was the hardest day of my life, firing my own son. He didn't speak to me for a year. In 1995, something happened. I never forgot. An explosion at the shipyard. A fuel tank wasn't sealed properly. 3 men were injured. One of them, Hector Ramirez, was near death. He was from Colombia. He'd come to the U.S. looking for work. He left his family in Cartagena, promising to send them money every month. Hector was 28 with a 5-year-old son. The explosion burned 40% of his body. The doctor said he wouldn't make it. I paid for everything, the private hospital, the surgeries, the skin grafts, the rehab. It cost me over $200,000. The shipyard's insurance didn't cover all of it. It didn't matter. Hector was my responsibility. Josephine sold her gold earrings, the only ones she had to help pay. When Hector got out of the hospital 5 months later, he hugged me, crying. Hector told me, his voice still rough from the smoke, Mr. Julian, you saved my life. My family will be eternally grateful. If you ever need anything, anything at all, my family will be there. I swear it on my life. I patted him on the shoulder. You don't have to swear anything. Hector, just get well and keep working. And he did. Hector Ramirez worked at my shipyard for 20 more years until he retired and went back to Colombia. We'd email sometimes. He'd send me pictures of his son, Michael, as he grew up. Then the emails became less frequent. Life goes on. Promises are forgotten. Or so I thought. I never imagined that promise made by a burned man in a hospital bed would be what saved me 30 years later. But I learned that later, much later. In 2020, I had a stroke. Well, that's what the doctor called it, a mild stroke. He said, I was in the shipyard office looking over some blueprints when suddenly I couldn't move my left arm. My mouth drooped. One of my workers saw me and called an ambulance. I spent 3 days in the hospital. Josephine never left my side. The doctor said I was lucky. It could have been worse, but they warned me. Mr. Julian, you have to cut back on the stress. You need to rest. You're 73 years old. Marcus came down from New York. He sat at the foot of my bed. Dad, it's time. Let go of the shipyard. You've done enough. Rest. I didn't want to. The shipyard was my life. But Josephine took my hand and said softly, Honey, I want you to rest, too. I want us to be together without all this worry. And I gave in. For her, I gave in. I sold the shipyard in 2020. I got a good price, $3 million. It was a lot of money. Josephine and I were going to travel, see the places we'd always dreamed of. But Josephine got sick. 6 months later, pancreatic cancer. The doctor said it was aggressive. 3 months they gave her. She lived for 8. She fought every single day. I was with her until the last second. She died in our bed, in the house where we lived, for 42 years holding my hand. Her last words were, Honey, take care of the will. Promise me you'll only open it when it's time. I didn't understand why she said that, but I promised her. I promise. My love, rest. She closed her eyes. It was January 5th, 2021, just after New Year's. Josephine always said that was her favorite time of year when everything felt new. She died on her favorite day. After the funeral, my kids started with the questions. Dad, when are we opening the will? Dad, we need to know what Mom left. Dad, we have to get the legal stuff sorted out. I told them, when it's time, your mother left clear instructions. The will is to be opened 4 years after her death. In my presence, and the lawyers respect her wishes. Marcus would get angry. That doesn't make any sense. Why 4 years? I didn't know. Josephine never explained. But it was her wish, and I was going to respect it. The months passed, and the calls continued. Always the same questions. Always the same pressure. Sarah would cry on the phone. Dad, I need to know if Mom left me anything. I have debts. The girls need things. Ryan barely called. But when he did, he was drunk. That money is ours, too. Old man, it's not just yours. Old man, he called me old man, like I was a burden. 6 months ago, I overheard a conversation by accident. It was at Marcus's house. He'd invited me over for dinner. I went to the bathroom, and on my way back, I heard them in the kitchen. Marcus and Grace. Marcus, we owe $3 million. Grace said. Her voice was cold, calculating. If we don't pay in 6 months, we lose everything. The house, the cars, everything. Marcus replied, The will opens in 2 months. There will be money then. Grace said something that froze my blood. And what if something happens to the old man before then? Then we control everything. Silence. Then Marcus. Grace. Don't say things like that. But it didn't sound like a reprimand. It sounded like a doubt. I just stood there in the hallway, my heart pounding. I thought they were just words of frustration, words spoken in a moment of desperation. I didn't think they'd actually do it, but they did. My God. And they did. The day of the cruise, the sun was splitting the rocks in Houston. I got to the port with my old brown leather suitcase, the same one Josephine and I used when we went to Key West for our 20th anniversary. It feels like it's full of bricks. I packed clothes for 7 days, my blood pressure medication, the book I'm never going to finish, and the photo of Josephine I always carry in my wallet. I walk up the metal ramp. It clangs hollowly under my shoes. A young family is in front of me. The kids are screaming with excitement. Behind me is Marcus, with his modern black shiny rolling suitcase. He doesn't offer to help me. He doesn't even look back to see if I need anything. Grace walks beside him wearing sunglasses that cost more than my monthly pension. She smiles when she sees me sweating. How exciting, father-in-law. Your first cruise. Her voice is rehearsed like a bad actress in a cheap soap opera. We check in at the reception. A girl in a navy blue uniform hands me a key card. Cabin 412, Mr. Reed, Deck 4. Marcus and Grace get their cards. Family Suite 320, Deck 3. Family Suite. I get a cabin. I get to my room and it's so small I can barely stretch my arms. A single bed pushed against the wall, a bathroom the size of a closet, a round porthole window looking out at the sea. That's it. I sit on the bed. The springs creak. Marcus shows up at the door. Everything okay? Dad? I tell him. Yes, it's better this way. Dad, quieter for you. We make a lot of noise with Mason. I nod. It makes sense. Or I tell myself it makes sense. But something in my chest feels heavy. Josephine would have told me, Honey, this isn't right. A family travels together, but Josephine isn't here to tell me anything. The first night, there's a formal dinner in the main dining hall. It's huge with crystal chandeliers and waiters in white gloves. I've never been in a place like this. I put on my good white shirt, the one I wear to weddings, and my navy blue blazer. It's 20 years old, but it still looks decent. I get to the table, and they're all already seated. Marcus, Grace, Sarah with her new husband, Ryan with Lucia, his wife, and Mason, my grandson, who looks at me with big, sad eyes. The ship's captain comes over to our table. His name is Heriberto Salazar. He's in his 50s, gray hair, perfectly combed, immaculate white uniform. He raises his glass. A toast to families who sail together. Everyone raises their glass. I raise mine. I look at Marcus. He avoids my gaze. He's staring at his glass. Ryan is already on his third beer. His eyes are glassy. Sarah won't stop looking at her phone, typing something. She smiles at the screen, not at me. Mason gets up from his chair and sits in the one next to me. Grace had put him at the other end of the table, far away from me. Grandpa, tell me about when you built the Navy ship. My grandson has Josephine's eyes, the same light brown color, almost honey. I start to tell him about that time in 1985 when the government hired us to repair a Navy vessel. I'm just getting started when Grace cuts in, her voice sharp